Hey friends, it's Mary Kubica time! Welcome and welcome back to Francesca's Books. My name is Francesca, these are my books, and here we talk about all things thriller books. And if you are not new around here, you'll know I've been reading Mary Kubica's backlist for a little while now. It's taken me longer than I anticipated to get through. I've finally done it. All 9 books have been read, reviewed and rated. So as of May 2025, Mary Kubica has 9 psychological thrillers and I'm going to rank them from least favourite to most favourite. The ultimate list. Before we dive into the good stuff, leave a comment on which you think is going to be my favourite Mary Kubica book, and I feel like eagle-eyed viewers will probably be able to guess this. However, you might be surprised, you never know. And also I will pop a link for all of Mary Kubica's books on Amazon in one handy place for you in the description. Sometimes people comment on my channel like, I've got Amazon open while I'm watching your video, and I'm like, no girl, I'll do the hard work for you, just have to click. If you want to go get anything, go shopping. And also, some of these books are on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll leave my free trial link there as well for you guys if you want to go and check them out without having to pay anything. So before we dive into number 9, It's Not Her by Mary Kubica is coming out in February 2026. This is her next book, next release. I have not managed to get my hands on a copy of this yet, but some advanced copies have started to go out digitally, so I'm very much hoping, let's pray to see if I can let you guys know whether it's going to be worth the read or not. I've no doubt it is. It sounds so good. So firstly, we're set at Lakeside Resort. Some of my favourite books ever are set by the lake. I don't know what it is about the vibes, but we've got 2 families who are going to like a secluded resort. They're going to just like take a break from everything. And then one day this woman wakes up, goes and checks on her like brother's cabin, and the brother and her sister-in-law are both unalived. Also, her teenage niece is absolutely nowhere to be seen. She's like looking around the corners like, where is she? And then we have a young nephew who is completely unharmed, undisturbed and still like fast asleep. So she dives into these unalivings and I assume takes care of her nephew. And without further ado, coming in at number 9 is Every Last Secret. So I gave this a 2.5. It was definitely my least favourite book. It's quite closely tied, to be fair, with my number 8 pick, which I'll tell you about next, but both of them just didn't have that oomph that I'm looking for in a Mary Kubica book. I hate starting with my least favourite books because I do really love this author, but these are just the picks that I would just never gravitate to or like recommend. So in Every Last Lie, we have our female main character, Clara, and her husband, Nick, is unalived in a car crash. Her daughter was also in the car, but was absolutely unharmed. So she comes home, she's taking care of her daughter, she's absolutely distraught, as you can imagine. She also has a newborn at home, and she's just so paranoid that somebody was after her husband, Nick, and it wasn't just an accident. The police keep telling her over and over and over again he was speeding, and he just lost control of the vehicle, and the reason the daughter wasn't harmed was because she was like on the other side of the car. So Clara goes into an absolute meltdown, basically suspecting every single person within her life of what might have happened. It doesn't help that her daughter keeps coming home like, Mummy, the bad man was following us. There's this like bad man theme she keeps calling a person, a suspected person, and we have no idea that. So my main issue with this is the unsatisfying ending. Like, I'm not talking like, oh, that plot twist didn't really hit. I'm talking like, no, like literally, I can't really spoil it, but like dead wall. Like, just nothing. And also throughout the narrative, it was just problem after problem after problem. I was like, our FMC literally cannot catch a break at all. Without giving too much away, I think this book was supposed to come full circle. There is something a little bit poetic about it in terms of that. If this was a contemporary book, I would probably be like, yeah, all right, maybe like a 3.5, 3.5. But as a thriller, it just doesn't sit right. Maybe people would class it more as like a psychological suspense. Either way, I would not recommend it. Then next up was the most recent Mary Kubica book that I read, which was extremely disappointing because I thought, let's like go out on these books on a high. Unfortunately, we did not. We have another 2.5, and it is When the Lights Go Out. So in this book, we're following Jessica, who is like early 20s. Her mum dies literally right at the start of the book. So I'm already like starting off on a back foot with this book because of previous trauma. However, I push through these things. You know, I need to give the girls a thriller review. So here we are, still reading these books with dead parents. So her mum's unalived and her parting words to her are like, go and find yourself. And she doesn't really know what to make of that, but then, you know, a couple of weeks go by or however long, I'm not sure. She goes to try and find a job and realises she doesn't have a social security number or a birth certificate or anything to really ever identify her, which is crazy in your early 20s, but that is just the plot of the book. She then goes to try and like apply for a social security number, and they're like, you died 17 years ago, like you do not exist. She's like, huh? Then we have another point of view of Eden, who is so desperate to have a child, like so desperate she will do anything. We're talking like attempted kidnapping, we're talking like dodgy fertility programs, like she's desperate. She literally can't picture her life without a child. And then those point of views overlap at some point, and I don't know what it was. The premise of this just sounded so good. I was like, yeah, I'm really gonna like this one, but it just fell flat. I just wasn't really invested in either of our female main characters. So Jessica was like the most unreliable narrator ever, and I just couldn't even feel any sympathy for her. And then Eden was just absolutely batshit crazy. Like, I probably did prefer her points of view, but still just not fantastic. And the twist at the end, you will literally just be like, surely not, like literally surely not, but not in a good way. Overall, these characters made some extremely questionable choices. Wasn't a huge fan. The writing was very easy to read, and that's why none of these books are a 1-star. Like, Mary Kubica does have something in the fact that the actual prose is very easy. Aside from that, this was another miss. Okay, now we're moving up into 3-star territory, and the next book is the only one I don't have in paperback or in physical copy whatsoever. I was scanning my shelves earlier and I was like, surely I do, because I knew, I was like, I definitely have all these books. But I've been looking through my own videos and I'm like, I'm never holding it, so maybe I don't actually have it. And the problem with this colour coordinated library is I can't go and look for K in the alphabet to try and find her book, so that one's on me. Anyway, the next book is Pretty Baby with a 3-star. So this follows our female main character Heidi, and she is commuting to work in downtown Chicago. She's on the loop. If you've ever been to Chicago, when you're from Chicago, this is gonna, like, these books will all really sit with you. Literally all of them are pretty much Chicago based, which I think is really, really cool. Anyway, she's on the subway, underground, depending on where you're from, platform. She sees this girl who's like maybe like late teens with a newborn baby. They look very, very homeless, and she's like, I'm gonna try and like take care of her a little bit. She's like, do you want to go and get some food with me? Like, she just feels really sorry for her. Next thing, she's back at her house with this new mum and baby, and slowly she just kind of doesn't leave. But it's all our female main character's Heidi's doing. She's like, no, stay, like, please stay. And the rest of the family are like, Mum, what are you doing? This was definitely more suspense than a thriller. Again, it didn't land like a thriller. It landed like a suspenseful story, which is okay. It worked better in this scenario. But I will say, huge trigger warning. There was some very graphic descriptions of abuse in this. So if that's something that's going to upset you, I would highly recommend staying clear. They were a little bit much even for me, with that not being any sort of trigger warning. Even I was just a bit like, but I guess we're thriller girlies, like we want the deep, the dark, the crazy, so that's what these thriller authors give to us, but this one was quite graphic. There was also a few bits which appeared like plot twists, but I just thought they were assumptions we're supposed to make as the reader, so that didn't land very well. And it also was a bit of a slow burn, so don't get me wrong, normally slow burn is like a negative thing, but I think in this situation the pacing did work really well. I don't think it needed to be faster paced given the actual content. I don't know, I'm hesitant to say I wouldn't recommend this one because I didn't hate it, I just didn't love it. And then next up we have The Other Misses with a 3.5. This one follows a family who are seeking a brand new start. There has been some not great goings on previously where they live. They're having some marriage trouble, everything that could go wrong, and they think fresh start is what is going to help. And this is prompted by inheriting a new house, and the reason they've inherited it is because I think it was like the uncle had passed away and it was theirs, but it was like on the condition that you look after my niece who also lives there. This is also told from 3 points of view, which I really, really liked. I feel like we got a lot more perspectives from this, which made me think that's probably why it went up to a 3.5. I could kind of get my head into the story a bit more, and I felt for these characters a lot more than I did the previous books we've talked about. This was a brilliant unreliable narrator read. This trope really, really landed here. It was brilliant. It was also set more in the suburbs this time, and it felt like quite an isolated setting, so they had to get like a boat to like mainland Chicago, mainland Illinois, I'm not sure. And the way this went in the terms of the last 20%, I was honestly blown away. Like, this was a twist that like so few people can do, right? And Mary Kubica absolutely nailed it. So 3.5. Next up is another 3.5, and I think this is very jointly tied with The Other Misses. If not, maybe The Other Misses slightly has the edge. I couldn't really like rank these two. They were very, very similar in terms of what I thought of them, but the next one is Don't You Cry. So this follows a woman whose roommate mysteriously just doesn't come home one day and leaves a very cryptic note. Then we have another point of view of a barista called Alex, who is quite young and he's just kind of finding his feet, but this really enigmatic woman comes into the coffee shop every day and she's just striking to him, and he's like, I need to understand what's going on there. Like, this is just a bit weird. These timelines then start to overlap. Everything kind of gets a little bit more complicated, but at the heart of this is a missing person story. I feel like this was actually really, really good. Like, it had a fantastic twist at the end. The opening was really strong. The ending was really, really strong, but it was just the middle bit was just a bit repetitive. They kind of just kept going over the same information like over and over again, and I was a bit like, come on, let's just move this along. So whereas some of her books that are a little bit more slow burn kind of work, like Pretty Baby, pacing perfect, this slow burn, I was kind of like ready for the next thing. But aside from that, I really did enjoy it, and it was a 3.5. Next, we're moving up to a 4-star, and this is one of her newer releases. I feel like a lot of authors start really, really strong in like their debut, and their next couple of books are like really strong, and then books, like they then start to release, kind of taper off. I feel like there's a few authors where their books have just got progressively worse because they've kind of maybe really sat on these initial ideas, and then the other books are maybe like there's a bit of pressure. Mary Kubica, I feel like, has just got better and better and better with time. That is why I'm so excited for her next book. But let me just tell you about the remaining ones first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So with a 4-star, we have Just the Nicest Couple, and this unsurprisingly follows 2 couples where the husband of one of them goes missing, but the other couple are letting on so much more than they know. So the 2 wives in these couples are both school teachers and they work together, so that's how the couples know each other. But they're all really friendly now. The husbands like know each other and everything, and they're trying to now work out what has happened to this other husband. So the missing husband's called Jake, and his wife Nina obviously puts out this huge search party. She's like, where the hell is my husband? And then the other couple are like trying to help, but they're also trying to hide a load of things as well. This was really suspenseful. I did genuinely feel like I was on this journey with these characters, and they were all hiding things. And I know that's so cliche in the thriller genre, it's like they're all keeping secrets, but this one really did feel like that. I did guess the twist of this book, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't recommend it. I do think it was a solid 4-star read. Little coffee break. What have you been up to? Tell me, what have you read recently? What's enjoyable? What is the book you're most looking forward to? Let me know. Coming in at number 3 with the bronze, we have Mary Kubica's debut novel, The Good Girl. I read this one a lot more recently and did not expect to love it as much as I did. This one got like a visceral emotional reaction out of me. So we're following our female main character, Mia, and she is in a bar one night after her on again, off again boyfriend has not showed up for a date. She sees the stranger across the bar, he buys her a drink, the rest is history, she goes home with him. You do you. Which would be fine if then she wasn't missing. I'm not going to say any more than that about what happens. Of course that happens maybe in like the first 20 pages, so it's not really a full synopsis of the whole book, but I would highly recommend it going into this blind. I totally get why this book is talked about so much. I feel like aside from her most couple of recent releases, this is the one that people talk about, and I now completely understand why. It also had 3 fantastic point of views, and I was saying this earlier that the more point of views in Mary Kubica's books really land for me, because you kind of understand a bit more what's going on. Some authors don't do this well and you just lose track of the voices, but Mary Kubica can write really distinct voices. And then of course the emotional reaction from this book that absolutely sent me. I also feel like that was a little bit tied into the fact I don't know what I would have done in some of these situations, and I feel like it's dangerous when you're thinking like that. Like you're like, what would I actually do? This is so morally grey. This was not what I was expecting at all, but in a fantastic way. Then the runner-up, of course, is the very first Mary Kubica book I read, maybe like 12 months ago now, and it is Local One Missing. This book was all over my TikTok, and I thought I'm gonna pick it up, and as soon as I did, I understood why people love this author. This one got 4.5 stars from me, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. It follows 2 women and a young girl who went missing from the same really affluent neighbourhood like 10, 11 years ago, and now in present day somebody turns up claiming to be one of the missing people. She's like, hey guys, I'm home, like I'm so excited, like I can't believe I've actually got back to you. And they're a bit like, strange, not buying it. This one took a good 20 or 30% for me to like actually get my head into, but as soon as I did, it was fantastic. It was like twist after twist, absolutely thriving. This is one of those books that I feel like if you started it and maybe got up to like, I don't know, maybe like 60 or 70 pages and you're a bit like, oh, I don't know whether to carry on reading this one, this would be an immediate yes to finishing it. And before I tell you about my favourite Mary Kubica book ever, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and of course subscribe to my channel. I post twice a week about all the best thriller book recommendations. Coming in at number 1 is of course She's Not Sorry. This is in my favourite 10 books of all time. The premise of this book just doesn't sound anything. It just sounds a bit like, meh, okay. And that's probably why it took me so long to read it, but it absolutely blew me away. Like, I just loved it. So it follows a nurse called Megan. She is like an ICU nurse, and she goes in one day and there is a patient who has fallen off a bridge, and they're not sure whether somebody pushed her or whether she jumped. She's completely in a coma, so she can't speak for herself, and that is where the story begins. So you think this is going to be like quite a simple narrative of Megan getting too involved in Caitlin's life and being like, I'm gonna go and like investigate this, like I really care about her, but he just went absolutely crazy. It just popped off. Popped off. There were fantastic twists, fantastic female main character, wonderfully suspenseful, and after the halfway mark I read the rest in one sitting. Literally couldn't put it down. This is a wholehearted 5 out of 5 stars from me. So that's all 9 of Mary Kubica's books. I'm very excited for her 10th book to come out next year, as I've already told you about. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I cannot wait to see you next time.